Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu. High Performance Python Async, episode 17 of 17. Connecting to a managed cloud database without SSL is like shouting your database credentials across a crowded room. You need encryption, but setting it up correctly often leads to confusing connection errors or insecure defaults. Today, we are securing connections with SSL and asyncpg. People often get tripped up on how to configure SSL in their connection logic. If you use connection URIs, asyncpg natively parses standard PostgreSQL SSL mode query parameters, like setting SSL mode to require. That works for basic setups, but when you need precise control, like connecting securely to a managed cloud database using a custom certificate authority bundle, standard URI strings fall short. For that, you use the programmatic SSL parameter. The SSL parameter in asyncpg connection functions dictates how TLS is negotiated. It accepts two types of values. The first type is a string preset. You can pass the string prefer, which attempts an SSL connection but falls back to unencrypted if the server does not support it. You can pass require, which forces encryption but skips verifying the server identity. Or you can pass verify full, which forces encryption and strictly validates the server certificate against trusted routes. Here is the key insight. When your scenario demands a custom certificate authority, do not rely on string presets. Instead, you create a standard Python SSL context object. You configure this object with your custom certificate files, enforce strict verification, and then pass that Python object directly into the asyncpg SSL parameter. This gives you exact control over the cryptographic handshake, bypassing any default system certificates. That covers the encryption rules, but how does the connection actually start? That brings us to the direct TLS parameter. By default, PostgreSQL uses a protocol called start TLS. The client makes a plain text connection, asks the server if it supports encryption, and if the server says yes, they upgrade the connection to TLS. However, modern proxy setups like certain connection poolers or cloud load balancers often expect a direct TLS connection from the very first byte. They don't want the plain text negotiation. If your infrastructure is built this way, you pass true to the direct TLS connection parameter. When you do this, asyncpg skips the start TLS negotiation and immediately initiates a raw TLS handshake. Naturally, this only works if you also provide a valid SSL configuration. If you enable direct TLS but leave the SSL parameter empty, the connection will fail. When securing your database connections, remember that while string presets are convenient, passing an explicit SSL context object is the only way to absolutely guarantee your application trusts the correct server identity. Since this is the final episode of the series, I encourage you to explore the official asyncpg documentation and try these connection parameters hands-on. You can visit devstories.eu to suggest topics for our future series. That's all for this one. Thanks for listening and keep building.